Hey guys, tonight we are going to talk about what is called the Big Seven. And this is a method that you can use to divide any whole number by a whole number. And it even works with decimals, so I'm going to kind of explain what it is. So the first thing that you want to do, if you look at the bottom left-hand part of the screen, you'll see kind of like a little chart set up. And what you're going to do is you're going to put all of your multiples of 22 in this small chart. And each column is representative of the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place. So for example, in this first column, I'm just going to write down the numbers right next to it. This is going to be a little messy because, you know, I'm on my iPad, but basically I would put 22, and then 22 times 2 is 44, and 22 times 3 is 66, and 22 times 4 is 88. And then 22 times 5, of course, is 110. Well, in the next column, I'm going to just basically do everything by 10. So instead of 22, it's going to be 220. And then 440, 660. So you can see how what we're really doing is we're just adding a 0 on to our original number over on the side. And then the next column is going to be times 100. So, and if we start out with 22, now we need a 22 with 2 zeros on it. And then the 44 with the 2 zeros, the 66 with the 2 zeros, and you kind of get the idea of what's supposed to happen. Because essentially, if you look at this first column, 22 times 100 is 2,200. Well, 22 times 200 would give you 4,400. So this chart is going to help us because when we look at our division problem, you can kind of see that I've set up a giant 7 on top of it, because we're not going to do this like we would normally work a division problem. We're going to take and look at our entire dividend of 1,815, and then we're going to look back on our chart and we're going to see what's the closest we can get without going over. And if I look at my chart, I can see that 22 times 50 gives me 1,100. So I'm just going to subtract 1,100 and see what I have left. So I have 715 left. Now I'm going to look again and see how close I can get without going over. And it looks like 22 times 30. And when I multiply 22 times 30, my chart says that that's 660. So I'm going to subtract again and see what I have left. I'm going to have to do a little borrowing and carrying. And I've got 55 left. Well, I look at my chart again, and it looks like now I can do 22 times 2. And that gives me 44. And when I'm done, I have 11 left, and there's nothing else that I can do with 11 because 11 is smaller than 22. Well, this is where my decimal is going to go. So I'm going to put a big old dot for my decimal. Now, the cool thing about a decimal is that once you have your decimal down, you can add as many zeros as you need, but we only do it one at a time. So I'm just going to add that 0 now that I have a decimal, and I'm going to look back at my chart, and I can see that 22 times 5 is going to give me 110 on the nose. So the problem is done. Now, we have to figure out the answer. Well, this is pretty easy. We take all of the things that we multiplied by and we just add them up. 50 plus 30 plus 2 is 82. I'm going to put my decimal up, and then 22 times 5, I don't have anything to add to that 5, so that 5 just stays right there. And that is how you use the Big 7 to divide. Now, of course, you want to check your answer to make sure you're right, so go ahead and do that. And that's all you have to do.